Merry Christmas to each and every one of you, and welcome back to the Gridiron Sports Podcast. I am your host, Majestic Sounds, and you already know that Jesus is the reason for the season. I hope you guys spent time with your family. I hope you ate real good. I hope you guys just changed gifts, and I hope you got what you wanted. And if you didn't, just, go to the store and return the gift and get what you want. All right, Cowboy Nation, I just wanted to jump on because I'm hearing people talking about how good Cooper Rush is, and I agree with you 100% that Cooper Rush is a good quarterback, but Cooper Rush is a good backup quarterback, and Cooper Rush has a lot of help with the game plan that Mike McCarthy, Brian Schottenheimer is coming up with for Cooper Rush. And you guys got to remember when Dak went down, the first game Cooper Rush played was against the Philadelphia Eagles, and Cooper Rush didn't get over 45 yards offensively, passing the ball. And so from that point on, they've been game planning. Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer ain't had no choice but to come up with a good strategy to have for Cooper Rush so he could be successful in the National Football League. If you are a backup quarterback, your main objective is to don't lose the game. Don't lose the game. Don't you be the reason why we lose the game, because you are a backup quarterback. But they have helped him. The running game is much better versus the beginning of the year when Dak was out there. The wide receivers are creating separation at the top of their route now. But let's not forget Dak Prescott was throwing the ball in the tight window in the beginning of the year. Let's not forget that, ladies and gentlemen. Dak Prescott is a better quarterback, but he didn't have help offensively. The offensive line had two rookies at the time. We didn't reshuffle the offensive line now, but back then, we had two rookies. And the main guy who's supposed to protect Dak blindside was a rookie by the name of Tyler Guyton. When you get any job, what is the first thing they're going to ask you? How many years of experience you got for this particular job? And Tyler Guyton is a rookie. No disrespect to him, but as the weeks went on, he got a little better. But in the beginning, and even in week 10, a costly fumble, trying to pick up the ball and run with it. Man, just lay down on the ball. I can go on and on with the penalties and the holding calls and the offsides calls and illegal formation calls on our offense and on number 60, Tyler Guyton. So he's a rookie. So rookies are going to make rookie mistakes. I'm not bashing him. But this is what Dak had to deal with at the beginning of the year. How can you expect a left tackle to stop, a rookie left tackle to stop Myles Garrett? In the beginning of the year, we had tough top 5 defenses to go up against. You talking about the likes of J.J. Watts, Myles Garrett, and everybody talking about, well, at least you playing them in the beginning of the year where the weather ain't cold, and you going against the Baltimore Ravens. We had a tough schedule in the beginning of the year. Look at them teams I just named, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, we won that game, but look at their defense. Their defense was ranked number 1 at the time. Shout out to Jalen Tobey. He had a phenomenal game that game against Pittsburgh. Outside of that, the wide receivers just couldn't get open. Majority of the beginning of the year, and lazy Mike McCarthy did not game plan. The running game was in shambles at the beginning of the season, you guys. Let's not forget that. You look up, oh, Ezekiel Elliott in. Oh, that ain't working. Let's try Rico Dowdle. Oh, that ain't working. Let's try little Deuce Vaughn. Oh, that ain't working. Well, we just gonna lean on you, Dak, because you making $60 million. You making $60 million. So we're going to lean on you.
What's your point?
My point is you still got a game plan. Any game you go into, whether if you got your starting quarterback or your backup quarterback, you got a game plan. You see the wide receivers haven't been creating separation at the top of their routes. They just haven't. At the beginning of the season, they wasn't creating any separation. Dak was leading the league and throwing the ball in the tight windows. What can you do with that as a quarterback? Then they wouldn't let Dak run. You making too much money. Now we playing a political game. Dak, you make way too much money. We don't want you to get injured, so just stand back there like a statue. Come on, dog. That ain't gonna work in the National Football League. Quit being lazy. That is lazy coaching. It is the head coach's responsibility to have each and every player ready week in and week out to face their opponent. Not the burden on Dak Prescott because he's the starting quarterback. He's getting paid more than anybody in the National Football League. So we just gonna lean on him. We ain't got no offensive line. When he dropped back, Dak might as well start running the ball after 3 seconds. Might as well. You might as well put the ball down and run it yourself. Because you're not going to have nobody open. You don't have a running game. And you don't have a good blocking offensive line. That's all Dak was left with. And the defense was struggling. We had a few good games here and there at the time. And of course, let's not forget to mention all of the injuries we had on defense. All of the injuries we had on offense. Let's not forget that. Cooper Rush is a good backup quarterback, ladies and gentlemen, but he's not a starting quarterback. He has a lot of help. Once they saw what he was not able to do against Philly, they knew right and then, hey, we're going to have to go to the drawing board. Hey, listen, Cooper Rush, you do not have a strong arm like Dak Prescott. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the short passing game. We're going to use slant routes. We're going to get the ball out of your hand fast, quick, fast, in a hurry. You are not mobile like Dak, so we got to get the ball out of your hand. Our offensive line ain't the best, but we reshuffled it. It's better. So you can hold the ball a little, but don't expect them to hold up for a long time. And we seen it during the Philly game. 45 passing yards all game long. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. And you talking about this guy better than that. Nowhere near. Cowboy Nation. Nowhere near better than that. Let's not forget to mention CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, for the most part, was not on the same page. And somehow, CeeDee still got over 1,000 yards this season because he is that guy. He is him. So one thing I can say, CeeDee Lamb knew how to get open. Everybody else, they struggled to get open. They're doing great now. Some of that is scheme and play calling. And the other part of it is simply getting open and creating separation at the top of your route. But when you have the likes of Cooper Rush, you got to make the game easy. You got to shorten that playbook, scale it back, and get him some easy plays. Get the ball out of his hands fast, and then take your shots downfield. That's all you can do with a Cooper Rush. He is not mobile. So all the trick plays and all, that's out the window. Only trick play you probably can do is the jet sweep. You can't do no flea flicker and things of that nature. That takes too long. It develops too long. The offensive line ain't gonna hold up too long, and your quarterback is not mobile enough to get out of trouble. Dak Prescott is a play action quarterback, and when Dak wasn't injured, we couldn't run the ball. So how can you play action and you're not running the ball? We couldn't. You can say some of that is scheme. You can say some of that is the strategy, and then you can blame the rest of it on the players. You got to pick one running back as your featured running back and run with that guy. So they finally did that with Rico Dowdle, and we have been running the ball successfully since that point, except for against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we already know historically it's hard to run against Tampa Bay anyway. So I'll throw that out the window. I won't hold it against Mike McCarthy. But Mike McCarthy was lazy. I want you all to perfectly understand this. When Dak was out there and healthy, Mike McCarthy wanted to lean on Dak in the passing game, like he got Aaron Rodgers in his prime. You trying to use an outdated offense and put all the pressure and responsibility on your quarterback. Aaron Rodgers ain't even Aaron Rodgers in his prime. He's not. Get rid of that outdated offense. Strategize. Quit being lazy as a head coach and help your $60 million quarterback out. Help him out. Nobody's getting open for CeeDee Lamb, so they're gonna double and triple team him. So who's open? And I will say, Jalen Brooks and Jalen Tolbert has helped out. They are still young. Most likely, they're still learning the playbook. They're young. What you expect? That's why you gotta have another wide receiver. So a lot of this, excuse me, let me be honest with you guys. A lot of this is on Jerry Jones. It's Jerry Jones' fault. You sat on your hands during the off season. You knew you need a premier running back. You knew you need a wide receiver to match up with CeeDee Lamb. This stuff that Jerry knew. He knew all of that.
What's your point?
My point is, you left us out to dry. You lied to the fans. You lied, Jerry. You told us you was all in, but you wasn't. You're not all in, and it showed this season. So most of the blame, 75 to 80% of the blame goes on Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones. It goes on them. You gave up so many players in free agency. You just let them walk. You didn't get nothing for them. You could at least trade it for some of these guys. You didn't get nothing in return. And now look at the results. Look at the end of the matter, if you will, because of Jerry Jones. And then the coaching staff got lazy in the beginning of the year, trying to find their way through from an offensive perspective and putting all that responsibility on Dak Prescott. Just going out there, dog, and do what you do. With no offensive line, 2 rookies on your offensive line. One of them was like a right guard, and you move him to center because you let Tyler Biadasz go to the Washington Commanders. That's what I'm saying, you guys. They didn't get nothing. They could have at least traded or something. They didn't do nothing in free agency. All they did was brought in Eric Kendricks in free agency. Name me something else they did. I'll wait on you. I'll wait. Exactly. Nothing. They did nothing in free agency, ladies and gentlemen. So, all you Dak haters out there, calm yourself down. Hold your horses. Hold up. Because Dak Prescott is a far better quarterback than Cooper Rush. And I like Cooper Rush, but there's a bad go quarterback. And it got to the point where when Cooper Rush came and took the reins after Dak got injured and Cooper Rush wasn't doing good, what was everybody saying? Let's try Trey Lance. Man, Trey Lance throw too many interceptions. He's not ready. He's not. And one can argue that Dak throw a lot of interceptions. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, at least Dak taking chances down the field. Cooper Rush's arm ain't even strong enough. Just look at him. Look at the tape. Even the touchdown pass CeeDee Lamb called against the Carolina Panthers, he had to turn around, adjust his body. Some of them catches, Jalen Tolbert had to turn around, adjust his body, and try to high point the ball or go down low when the ball is short. Look at what the receivers have to do to catch the ball. Just look, ladies and gentlemen, the film don't lie. He just don't have a strong enough arm. He don't. But you got to take shots when you playing against a high-powered offense. You got to take those shots down the field. And you just hope for the best. But Dak can get it downfield. Only problem with Dak, he forced. When he know we need a score, he's going to force it. I will say that. That's one thing I will say against Dak. He take his chances and he'll force the ball, which he shouldn't do. But I understand. If you down, your running game ain't doing nothing, your offensive lineman can't stop nobody, and you out there trying to play hero ball, you have no choice. Your coaches ain't helping you. They ain't coming up with no game plan for you. So you out there pretty much on your own. And you will hope the defense can stop the opposing team. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. So Jerry Jones, you are 75 to 80% of the problem, because all you want to do is this right here. All you want to do is lean heavily on the draft.
What's your point?
My point is that you cheat. You cheat, and your quarterback whom you paid I give you that. At the last hour, right before tip-off in week 1, you just now paying your quarterback. Man, you wasted time and you wasted money. And let's not forget, CeeDee Lamb had to sit out all the OTAs, all the minicamp to get his money from you, Jerry. Just go on and pay them folks. Pay him, man. Pay the man. Pay him. Why take so long to pay people? You got the money. You got the bread. Pay the man. Who else can do what CeeDee Lamb can do? Name it somebody else on the team. Who else? Who else is good after the catch like CeeDee Lamb? Deebo Samuel can't stay healthy, so he's etched out. Jamar Chase can't do it. He's good after the catch, but he ain't a CeeDee Lamb after the catch. He is the best wide receiver after the catch. I don't care if it's a screen route. I don't care if it's a slant. I don't care if it's a hook. I don't care if it's a out. CeeDee Lamb is the best at yak yardage, yards after the catch. And you waited to the 11th hour to pay him. Therefore, him and Dak chemistry was off because they didn't practice none together during the offseason. That's a waste of time. Now look at the results. Look at the results. We are 7-8. 7-8. Not 12-5. Not 11-6. Not 10-7. 7-8. 80% of that falls on Jerry. 80% of that falls on Jerry, and I throw his son in there, Stephen Jones. And Will McClay he's being held hostage at this point. He really is. They're not giving him the bread to get better players. That's just what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the shape we're in now because we didn't make moves during the offseason. And this is what happened when you have an owner and a GM who don't want to spend money, don't want to bring in no players, want to lean heavily on the draft and undrafted free agents. That's it. That's his go-to. Let me hit that button for you one more time because this is his go-to. Jerry Jones, he leans heavily on that. He go to the discount store and he lean heavily on the draft. That's it. Can't nobody dispute that. Can't nobody argue with me on that. That ain't even up for debate. It's really not. And we got a Mike McCarthy that we most likely, I'm going to adjust this camera a little bit. We most likely got to deal with again next year. I mean, the players love him. He still got the locker room, ladies and gentlemen. So most likely him and Mike Zim, they'll be back. I have, honestly, Mike Zim has been very impressive to have all them injuries and still be able to have an elite defense or at least middle of the pack defense. So I'm cool with that. And they all want Mike McCarthy there. They just got to do a few more things. You got to bring in a wide receiver for sure. And I'm talking about in free agency. You can go draft 1, 2. You can go draft Luther Burden. That's who we projected to get as far as wide receivers. And Rico Dowdle will be a free agent. So are you going to re-sign Rico? What you going to do, dog? And then what you going to do about the offensive line? Zach Martin might retire. So we still got some stones that are unturned. And I know it's not the end of the season yet. We got 2 more games. But, hey, look, it's always nice to look to the future and ask the questions. And the reality of it is, what in the world are you going to do? We know they're going to try to get a running back in the draft. I can tell you that now. And they probably going to try to get one in the 3rd or the 4th round. But wide receiver, you better get him in the 1st round, dog. You better, or you're going to regret it. And in my humble opinion, you need to get T. Higgins out of free agency. That's if the Cincinnati Bengals let the man go. So, Cowboy Nation, those are my thoughts about Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, and Rush. We do trust. He's done a phenomenal job as a backup. He ain't blowing the game. He don't have a lot of turnovers. He's even keeled, but he ain't elite. Let's not forget that Prescott was runner-up in 2023 for the MVP. Lamar Jackson got the MVP. And guess who was next? Dak Prescott. Let's not forget that. Dak Prescott played at all-time elite level in 2023. So, I don't know. Y'all got amnesia or something. But Cooper Rush is not. I repeat, Cooper Rush is not better than Dak Prescott. For the record, he just in a better situation than Dak was when he was out there. So, that's all, ladies and gentlemen. They got a game plan every week for Cooper Rush, but they ain't had none for Dak. They just throw him in the fire. I promise you. Go back and look at the film. Look at the stats. The film don't lie. The numbers don't lie. Go back and look at what the running game was doing in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9, week 10. 10 weeks. The running game probably was good 2 out of the 10 weeks against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the first time we played the New York Giants, who was a pushover team. So let's be realistic about it. Dak just didn't have no help. All right, Cowboy Nation, that's my time. I truly thank you all for your time. Be sure to share this content with a friend, with a neighbor, a stranger, your loved ones, your co-workers, your significant other, even your enemy. And maybe y'all will become the best of friends after talking about the Dallas Cowboys. DC for life.